Hey everyone, this is Joanna.
This is Sam.
And you are listening to episode 34 of
Whoa.
Disney Channel Original Newbies.
That's a lot of episodes.
It is a lot of episodes. That's a fact.
I heard that 34 is your favorite number.
I don't really have a favorite number, but it could be.
Yeah.
We could decide that 34 is my favorite.
I thought so.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yes, so 34 is my new favorite number as of right now.
So, what you been up to lately?
Just a few things going on. Had a birthday, which we already talked about.
Sure.
Ran a marathon, which we already talked about.
Also sure.
And something we have not talked about is we got a dog.
Yeah, we did.
And his name is Murphy.
And he's a little pupper.
He's a little pupper. And he's sitting right next to me. Actually, he's standing right next to me while I'm sitting.
He's standing tall.
As tall as he can.
At 12 inches. Otherwise known as 1 foot.
So if you hear any sudden barks or yips or rustling, it's
That's
because it's Sam and Murphy is trying to quiet him down.
But if you hear any really good boys in the background, that's
all Murphy.
Yeah.
All Murphy.
So what's the movie we're here to talk about today?
We are going to talk about Halloweentown 2, Kalabar's Revenge.
It's not Spooky's Revenge?
No, it's most definitely Kalabar's Revenge.
Oh, okay. I guess I watched the wrong movie then. Whatever. We'll have to go through what I remember of Spooky's Revenge.
Before we get started, I would like to propose a toast to our first sequel.
Yes. Wait. Yes, definitely
Yeah,
a first sequel.
it's the first sequel.
No,
it's
not.
the second sequel.
Second sequel.
To the second
sequel.
Yeah.
The sequel to the sequel.
The sequel to the sequel. So the sequel. No, this is the first sequel.
The first
because
one was a sequel.
Xenon was a sequel.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, so the first sequel.
Okay. Let's do it. And by toast we mean just opening a beer right into the microphone.
Yeah.
You got this. Maybe not.
That wasn't great.
Yeah, it wasn't as loud as I thought it'd be.
Yeah, we've had a traumatic experience with 2 beers randomly exploding.
What brand is that?
This is a Peekskill brewery. It's called Hidden Track, and it's a fruited sour ale. So
if you ever want to get any beers that make loud noises when you open them, don't get it from this brewery.
Yeah, don't get it from Peekskill. It's a quiet beer.
The beers are great.
They're just quiet.
They're not loud.
Yeah, they're quiet beers.
Do you think sour beers become not sour when they go bad?
Yeah, probably. They become sweet.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, so Halloweentown 2.
So it started with a recap of the first movie, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, that was helpful.
Because it's been like over a year since we watched it.
Yeah, so Halloweentown, if you haven't listened to our last episode, was our second episode we ever put out. So this is 32 episodes later. It's wild.
It is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Go us.
So basically the premise of this one is Grandma's now living in the real world, or the mortal world they call it.
Yeah, so before they only saw Grandma once a year on Halloween.
Yes.
And now Grandma has been living with them for a year.
So this is 1 year since the last movie.
Yeah.
Okay. One mortal year since the last movie.
1 mortal year since the last movie.
And it's now Halloween again, and they're up to some gosh darn shenanigans once again in the mortal world and in Halloweentown.
And the shenanigans are that they're celebrating Halloween in their house, which they weren't allowed to do a year ago.
Yeah, the mom's grown. Now after her kids and her mother almost died in Halloweentown a year ago, she's more accepting
of Halloween.
Of celebrating Halloween.
Talk about character growth.
Yeah, she's like about an inch taller, probably.
I think that was heels.
Oh, my bad. So maybe there wasn't much growth then. She did a no growth.
Growth or no growth?
Yeah, so it's Halloween again. They're having a party at their house. They had some unexpected guests who are new in town. And that's pretty much the underlying premise of this movie. Oh, and also Marnie wants to live in Halloweentown for the next year. So her and her mom are kind of going back and forth about that.
But time is different in Halloweentown. So a year in the mortal world is, 10 years in Halloween world?
Halloween World? So this is like the Disney World, Disney Town kind of thing?
Yeah. In the Halloweentown, how long is it?
I feel like they kind of switch around, to be honest. Because they talk about it in the first movie, and I think it's not the same as what they say in this movie.
Time is fluid.
Yes. It's a
social construct.
It's a flat something. A flat circle.
It's not a spiral, like a slinky.
It might be a slinky, but it's definitely a flat circle, too.
Is it a flat earth?
No. I'm like, Joanna? That's our other podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we do a podcast every 3 weeks where we just talk about how cool flat earths are.
That's false.
It's called That's False, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good podcast. Check it out. But alas. So they're having a party at their house. Also, Marnie's in some sort of chat room with... It's like one of those AOL chat rooms, which I thought was very funny.
Back in the day.
So you would do like the AOL chat rooms, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I remember some other chat rooms I would be in, but I can't remember what like the website or whatever was. But it definitely wasn't AOL. And it definitely was just full of pedophiles, right?
Probably. I remember there was this game I used to play. It was like Lenny something walkabout.
Club Penguin.
No.
Oh, okay.
And it was either an Australian game or an Australia-themed game. And all I remember is that you walked around in this game, and then you would enter these chat rooms. And then you would go do some task, and then you would stop in a chat room along the way.
That's very funny.
Yeah, I had a blast.
You think it was called Arnie's something?
No, Lenny's.
Oh, Lenny's something.
Yeah, Lenny's something walkabout.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was great.
We'll have to check that out and forget to talk about it in the next episode.
Sounds like a plan.
Deal. Cool. Marnie's in some chat rooms. There's like a spooky face kind of image behind her in her room, which she doesn't see. But the audience sees it. I saw it.
I saw it too.
That's cool. We're pretty cool.
It was just us. No one else saw it.
What? You sure?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And Grandma has like a orb, a big kind of orb thing.
Like a crystal ball?
Now I want to call it a crystal orb.
You'd call it an orb.
Yeah. And she's checking out what's happening in H-Town. She sees like everyone's, Gort is like taking everyone's missing items. Gort's some like goblin kind of guy. I don't really know. Troll. I don't know where he is. Every time someone loses an item, it goes to his house.
Which is pretty cool that they incorporated that. It's kind of a very Boogeyman thing. A don't look under the bed thing. Like what happens to the single sock.
It's the Boogeyman.
Is Gort the Boogeyman?
No. He's
okay,
just
good.
Gort. And Grandma's talking to Marnie about, you have to choose the world, either come to Halloweentown or live in the mortal world. And she's like, I want to go to Halloweentown for a year. But at the same time, little Sophie, the best witch of them all, the younger sister, she's like, I sense something's going wrong. Someone's coming. Be on like high alert. And they're all like, whatever. Sophie.
Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, actually, I do, bitch. And it's really weird that they had her say bitch in a Disney movie.
Right, because like you would think generally they wouldn't say that. Although in the other movie they did say the N-word, which was pretty crazy. But in this one, to have a youngest child say that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that was weird. But anyway.
Yeah, but alas. So there's two new people in town. There's Cal and his father.
Cal's dad.
Do you remember?
Was it Alex? Alexander? Anything like that?
Something like that. I forget. And they come to the house. It's like an open house party, basically.
The whole neighborhood's invited.
At the Marnie household. And Marnie and her mom are very smitten by these two men.
They're very handsome. Dashing even.
Hence the smittenness.
The men arrive and immediately start wooing Marnie and her mom.
Very much so. And during this conversation, when they're talking for the first time, we first come to know that there's a costume party tonight at the high school.
Yeah, so Cal, being new in town, of course, is the one to ask Marnie to the costume party.
Right, to the school he's never been to.
Right, because he literally just moved there like hours ago. And also Dylan, Marnie's brother, is going around asking some of Marnie's friends, or is it just random? Well, not random
No,
girls,
people at the
but
party.
like
Yeah.
girls that he knows
them,
from
yeah.
school, if they will go to the costume party with him.
No, he's asking them if they have dates yet.
Oh, right.
And then, like, it's like in an hour.
And then he's like, oh, so that's a no, so you can go with me. And they're like, haha, no.
They're like, oh, I guess I should have just said no in the first place. It would have made this conversation much quicker.
Yeah, but then they have to
It's a movie.
jab at him a little bit, make it hurt.
Yep. So Cal, what I think, oh, so at some part, Marnie brings Cal to her grandma's room.
Yeah, she's showing him around. Oh, they're going to see her room.
Oh, and then he's like, oh, can I? And she's like, oh, look at this cool thing. So they go to the grandma's room, and he steals the grandmother's spell book.
How dare he?
Right?
What a jerk.
The nerve.
Ugh. You don't just steal someone's books. I was offended.
And he, like, does magic to steal it. So, like, we know, the audience knows that he's a warlock. But Marnie doesn't know this and doesn't even know he took the book.
Yeah, magic or no magic, you should not steal people's books.
But he makes up for it by asking her to go to the dance, which she agrees to.
And he gives her a rose.
Yes. Very.
Where'd he get that rose? He just magicked it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, that explains it.
And then Cal goes to, I'm going to call it H-Town. I hope if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so Cal goes to H-Town. And the grandma is trying to use her magic bag. It's not working. And a lot of things are going wrong, which makes her realize that her magic just in general isn't working because her spell book is gone. They eventually come to find out that it's gone.
Right. So, before that they discover it's gone, Grandma and Marnie decide, you know what, let's pop over to H-Town.
H-Town, yep.
And see what's going on.
It's weird that they would go to Houston and not Halloweentown, though.
Well, first they go to Houston, and then they're like, you know what, this is probably not the best place to be.
Right.
Let's go to Halloweentown.
Right. And then also Grandma has something called headphones, which instead of actual headphones, they're phones that are just shrunken heads, like skulls.
It's pretty cool.
It actually is pretty cool. So I probably shouldn't make fun of it. I'm sorry.
We're just jealous.
And you could communicate between H-Town and the mortal world with them.
Yeah. So they were extra magic.
So they're trying to go to H-Town. They can't do it because the bus stop's missing. So they finally get a portal and end up going there. And I think it doesn't show immediately what happens there. We see the dad, Cal's dad, ask the mom to go to the school dance. And she's like, we're
It's
adults.
for kids.
It's a school.
It's a high school dance. That's a little creepy, man.
And he's like, do you want to go? She's like, oh yeah, sure. Didn't take much convincing.
Yeah, no, he spun it. He spun it the smart way. He's like, oh, don't they need chaperones? And she's like, oh yeah, they do need chaperones.
Yeah. And then on his way out the door, a frog falls out of his pocket or something. A frog ends up on the ground behind him after he leaves.
I got the impression that it was supposed to seem like he turned into a frog.
No. He didn't turn into a frog.
I don't know why I thought that, but I thought at some point
So quick spoiler.
they said that like he turned into a frog.
Yeah, quick spoiler is one of his frogs falls off of him is what I think happens.
So if he took his shoes off, he'd be missing a toe or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or his tail. We all know. They go end up showing H-Town, and it like looks like the Great Depression meets the Rust Bowl meets a terrible black and white movie. Everyone's moving very slowly. It's all black and white, and
Everyone's boring and human.
Yeah,
It was disgusting. Ugh. Gross.
icky.
So yeah, that's H-Town.
And the jack-o'-lantern's missing from the last movie.
I thought it was just blocked in. Like
It became like a cinder block, basically.
Yeah.
Like a big, like, stone block, basically.
Yeah, they enclosed it. So it wasn't gone.
You don't know that. What if it's a Schrodinger's cat kind of situation?
That's true. You don't know.
Schrodinger's
Murphy?
jack-o'-lantern. Murphy? How dare you? Murphy's cat? So Grandma thinks that everyone's under a spell. which, like you said, all the creatures there have turned into humans, or like caricatures of humans, basically. The grandma calls Dylan, is like, hey, can you like get my spell book? And that's when they realize that the spell book's missing and that Cal stole it.
Right. And everyone is kind of saying like, well, grandma's kind of old. Maybe she misplaced it. And Marnie and grandma are both like, no.
So I have a question about that. So the grandma's definitely different in this movie than in the last movie. Like kind of like out of it, it seems like. Did you pick up on that at all?
A little bit.
Do you think that was how she's supposed to play the role, or do you think that just Debbie Reynolds like being old? I couldn't tell.
I wonder if it was a combination, because in this movie she does kind of lose her powers for a little bit, and just when she loses her power, she's a little out of it. So I wonder if Debbie Reynolds was out of it and they were like, all right, we can work with this.
Maybe that's because she didn't seem like she wasn't
all there. As spunky.
She wasn't there. Like, I don't know. I don't want to cast any aspersions or anything like that. But just the vibe I got. In
the first Halloweentown, her character was definitely like spunkier and had more energy.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think towards the beginning of this movie, she had more energy. And then towards the end.
So maybe it was part of the character then. I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows? We find out that they also can't go back to the mortal world. And they hear Cal speaking. And it turns out he's a warlock. And not only is he a warlock, he is Kalabar's son.
The son that no one knew about.
No one knew.
In all of Halloweentown.
Nope.
Also, when he's making this declaration, he's not physically there.
No, it's like his aura, kind of.
Yeah, his aura is projecting itself outside the cinder blocks where the jack-o'-lantern was.
Right.
It's like his face is coming out of a wall.
Yes.
I didn't really like that.
To each their own. So Cal is mad that the Cromwells, Marnie and her family, that they allowed humans, or they left the mortal world to have humans just take over there, and that they didn't have, other creatures just take over the humans in the mortal world and just like live how they want to live. So that's kind of the premise of why he's trying to get back at them, or take over, basically. And then he wants Marnie to join him in his adventures, and she's like, no thank you. And then after she's like, I'm not going to do it, he like finally discloses his plan that is going to happen in the mortal world, but I don't think he explains it. He just says
that something is going to happen.
Right. So we don't know at that time.
And so this is around the time where Grandma's like, oh, he stole my book? That's cool. I have a second copy.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, why didn't you bring this up sooner? Maybe in the first movie. I don't know. So they decide to go to Grandma's house, and they take a cab, and the cab driver's name is Benny?
Benny Bones? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benny.
And he's a human now instead of a
skeleton.
Instead of bones. He drives them up very carefully, and they enter Grandma's house, which is now kind of like a black and white pottery barn kind of house.
Yeah.
Instead of eccentric Grandma's house.
Yeah, so they look all over the house. They can't find it. She's like, oh, it was lost. I'm like, oh, it was lost. Let's go to Gort's house, because that's where lost things go. The next, like, half an hour, I just, like, could not care less what was going on.
Yeah, all
including
of these
going
scenes,
to his house and going to her house. It was like, whatever.
All of these scenes took way too long.
Yeah. Oh, and also Luke joins them, who was a goblin, and now he's a human, quote unquote.
A boring human.
So Luke, Grandma, and Marnie all go to this guy Gort's house where things get lost. They look for...
Except it's clean. They get there and it's clean, because the gray spell has cleaned it. Like, he made Gort a clean guy.
Yep. It's very
He's
strange.
An accountant now.
Yeah. And meanwhile, through all of this, Alex, I think is the father, right? You said Alex?
Something like that.
Whatever. So... the father comes over dressed as a frog and brings over like this little spooky mask for the mother to go to the dance. And the mom is like, you know what? I'll have the middle son watch Sophie while we go to the dance. So Marnie's not going. Luke's not going.
Because Marnie's in Halloweentown.
Right. Luke's not going. Sophie's not going. Just the mom.
The mom
is going to the school dance.
Yeah, the high school dance.
Oh, it's so funny. There was Gort says that he had like a yard sale or something where he sold the spell book. which I think he sold to Kalabar, right?
Years and years
yeah,
ago.
like 50 years ago.
Kalabar was playing the long game on this.
This whole next half hour, just I could not have cared less about when they like time travel and all that.
They time travel, the grandma is turning gray, and she and Gort are folding socks.
It's so boring.
It went on way too long.
And Sophie like determines that Cal's father is made of frogs. It's like a golem. What was the word that they use?
A golem.
So he's a golem, which is made of frogs, which is what she thinks. She's not certain, but she thinks he's made of frogs.
And she's probably right.
Right. That's kind of what it seems like for several reasons.
One of them being that she's the best witch in the family.
Yeah. So like we said before, Marnie has a time travel spell. She goes back in time a short amount of distance. Then she goes back a lot to caveman times. And they go to Gort's house and Cal's there. Then they go back and it's just Gort. And then it was like 50 years ago. And none of it mattered. They just keep
going back and forth.
And none of it mattered for the most part.
Yeah. Like they found something, but then they lost something. Yeah. It was too much.
Very ridiculous.
Too much tuna.
Entirely too much tuna. Sophie and what's the brother's name again?
Dylan.
Sophie and Dylan go to the party. They fly to the party.
On a broom.
Yeah, to the costume party on a broom, which, whatever.
Naturally.
Sophie's the best witch. It doesn't matter. Marnie figures out the reversal of the spell is the spell's trappa, but a part is the reverse of it. Again, the scene was so stupid. Like, entirely stupid. Like, I was like, oh, it's going to be this. When we were watching it, I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah. Well, you'd also seen it before.
I don't remember that whatsoever. I don't think I've actually seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I have. Definitely saw the first one a lot of times. Don't know if I've ever seen this one.
See, I thought you had seen this one, and it was just like somewhere in the back of your brain.
I may have seen it before, but I don't remember a lick of it. This is all like new to me, basically. So, it was not good. Then she loses the time travel spell because Marnie has the worst memory of all time. It's just whatever. Finally, we get to some good stuff. They're at the costume party at the school. And Sophie's like, yeah, he's obviously a frog. Like, this guy's just made of frogs. And the mom's like, no.
He's a good guy.
So she, like, conjures up this, like, huge fly. It's, like, metallic looking, basically. It's like a drone fly. I don't know.
It was, if I saw that fly in real life.
Oh, my God.
It would have been bad news. For me.
It was very silly. And he's, like, staring at it. And then his tongue, obviously, like a frog, like, shoots out.
Yeah, he comes out and eats the fly.
And eats the fly. And the mom's like, oh, I thought this was my man. But alas, it's a fly eater.
So sad. Then he turns back into just a pile of frogs.
Yeah. I think she does a spell.
Yeah, the mom does. The mom shows that she's a badass witch.
Yeah, he just turns into a pile of frogs. Everyone around's like, ew, gross.
And then they keep dancing.
Yeah, like nothing happened. Marnie goes on some time travel thing. Again, no one cares. And it's almost midnight. And Marnie turns into a black hole in the time travel thing, but she's too late. And Cal does some spell from like the rafters and turns the mother into. So everyone.
Was it a hag that he turned her into?
Oh, that was the mask that she was wearing. Oh yeah, kind of, because the mask is like stuck to her face now.
Right.
So she doesn't like become the creature. She just has a mask stuck to her face. Yeah, pretty much. And oh my God. Marnie and Grandma go into some portal. Again, like I said, it's too late, so it closes. So they're stuck, presumably stuck in Halloweentown for...
And they will be for a mortal year.
Yeah, which is like 100 years there, or whatever it is.
It's whatever they want it to be.
Cal does his other major spell and turns all the creatures... Okay, all the people there, what they're dressed as, they turn into that thing.
And I will say that at this particular Halloween party... There are some very elaborate costumes. Like, I think there's, a lobster? There's some really, just very intense. People got really into Halloween this year.
Guys, bring in the dancing lobsters. So everyone turns into these creatures, which is very cool. And we were, like, debating whether or not. Because, like, the first movie, like, there's a lot of costumes and stuff like that because they're in Halloweentown for the majority of the movie, basically.
Do you think for this movie, because when they're in Halloweentown, everyone's human because they were turned into boring humans. So do you think that they had all of the costumes from the previous movie and they were like, we spent so much time on this.
That'd be very funny.
We have to bring them out.
They're like, guys, we did 2 years ago. We could do it again. All right.
They've been in storage. They need to see the light of day. These are works of art.
That'd be pretty funny. Wait, yeah, so Marnie's stuck. Like I said before, Marnie calls Sophie and is like, hey, we'll open the portal after midnight anyway, which is just like breaking the only rule of the movie is that you can't go from Halloweentown to the mortal world unless it's Halloween, which it's not anymore.
Right. Well, because they were like, you know what? We made this rule, or at least our family made the rule. Is that what they said?
I think so. Yeah, I think they were the Cromwells were.
Yeah, so we can break it. Rules were made to be broken.
So they just did
naturally.
It. Like, nothing's stopping us. Let's
just do it. And then the first time we try it, it's going to work and it'll be great.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter anymore. They open the portal. Cal is super pissed. And him and Marnie have a conversation about, whether she wants to join him. She's like, no. And Cal's like, you know what? Here are the spell books. So he's holding out both spell books. And then there's like electrical wires coming out of him.
You will never get this. You will never get this.
And he's like, you know what? You could have the books, but only if you take the books out of my hand.
And Marnie's like, okay. And then she takes them out of his hand.
And that was the fight. Yeah.
Good stuff.
So and this is over like 5 minutes. Her just taking the book out of his hand.
Yeah, she was going kind of slow.
She's like scared at first.
Yeah, because she was probably like, it can't be that easy.
And then she just takes it.
And then it is. It is that easy.
And Cal goes away. And then the grandma...
good for him for knowing that no means no. She said no, I don't want to take over the world with you.
And
he was like...
doesn't take no for an answer for the first 12 times. And then finally, he realizes no means no. That's right.
He learned his lesson. Again, character growth.
100%.
Halloweentown, yes.
So he disappears. The grandma does some spell. Who cares? And Grandma and Marnie go to Halloweentown with Sophie. They turn everyone back to normal. And then some like Backstreet Boys song plays over the credits about spooky creatures. You
said it sounded like Backstreet Boys. I said it sounded like O-Town.
Then we listened to O-Town.
And then I watched them making the band YouTube videos.
Yes. I forgot
and it was a great
making
night.
The band.
Oh, I could never forget.
So that always...
I was invested in that show.
See, I remember like Danity Kane, but not O-Town. Because Danity Kane was way later than O-Town.
I didn't watch that. I just watched Making the Band with O-Town.
Do you know why I think you watched that one and I watched the other one?
Because O-Town was on basic channels?
Because O-Town was boys and Danity Kane was attractive girls.
Could be.
I think that's probably what happened.
I mean, I do remember watching Making the Band with my mom, so it checks out.
True. So your mom was very attracted to it. I don't know any members of O-Town.
Me neither.
I'm trying to think, can I name one member of Danity Kane? I want to say Amber.
I can't confirm that.
Yeah, I want to say Amber is one of them. I remember there was like shorter, like brunette girl that I liked, but I don't know if she was that was her. But yeah, so that was Halloweentown 2, Spooky / Kalabar's Revenge.
I have to say that I liked Halloweentown 1 much better.
Well, same. This was much darker and like, I don't know. It wasn't like this. It was cool because they were in Halloweentown in the first movie for so long, but now they go to Halloweentown and for 99% of the time, they're human and it's not Halloweentown.
And most of the scenes went on too long.
Oh my! They could have gotten rid of time travel altogether. They could have gotten rid of the whole sock thing, which happens for like 5 minutes. Like, there's so many things they could have gotten rid of.
All right, so can we just go into our questions? And can I say, since we're on the topic of what they could have changed, we can go on to what we would have changed?
Sure. I mean, mine was just less time in the sock house, and also that Debbie Reynolds seemed checked out. So I don't know if that was part of the movie or her just being checked out.
Yeah, I don't know. So mine, I mean, there were a few things. So when Cal's head is in the wall, I don't know why, but it was so distracting.
In the the pumpkin part?
Yeah, the pumpkin part of the wall. And I would just like I don't know what he said. I was just like, why why is this happening? Why couldn't he just be there? Also, like you said, all that time travel stuff, all the sock stuff, make it shorter or get rid of it and have a better fight scene at the end.
I know. They both know magic. Do a magic thing. It wasn't magical at all. It was just physical.
Yeah, and it was just like he held out the books. There were some spooky black vines coming out of him. And she grabbed the book and that was it. And he was like, oh, okay, bye. Because there was a pretty cool fight scene in the first one.
Yeah, of course. But they have like 5 witches versus Kalabar. They kill him twice, basically. He dies, right, Kalabar?
He dies or he was banished. I don't remember.
It was,
but yeah, they could have cut a lot of stuff out and had a solid fight scene, and that would have made the movie much better.
Absolutely.
So, what was your favorite scene?
Well, I was going to say, who would you most want to hang out with?
So at first I said Grandma, but specifically Grandma from the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
Not Grandma towards the end of the movie.
You want her treats in her bag?
Yeah, I want Mary Poppins' grandma bag. What about you?
I said Luke, because he seemed pretty chill.
Yeah, he is pretty chill.
Yeah, despite being a goblin, who I am prejudiced against.
I would rather hang out with Luke as a goblin than as a human, because he was kind of boring as a human.
That's fair. Who was Astrid? Oh, that was the elf lady who was trying to be really cheery.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had her in my notes. I was like, who the hell is Astrid? She played no purpose in this movie.
Yeah, she was in the first one, wasn't she? I don't remember.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the guy being there, the Gort. I don't remember him being in the first one. Do you?
No, I don't think he was. I think he's a new character.
Me too. Okay. Right, favorite scene. Do you want me to start?
Sure, go for it.
I liked when they all turned into the creatures at the party.
That was pretty cool, because I like the costumes.
Yeah, the next 5 minutes when you see everything. That's very cool.
And I think that's what I liked about the first movie, was seeing all the costumes and all the creatures.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, even when Sophie going to, the ice cream shop, that was better than any scene in this movie, basically. And that's just a minor scene in the first one.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then buying the brooms. There were so many, minor scenes, which is, the interactions with the creatures is the cool thing.
I agree.
So, what was your favorite scene?
I didn't really have a favorite scene exactly, but there was a concept that I liked. So I liked the concept of the gray spell that turns all of the creatures in Halloweentown into a caricature of what they think humans are.
Yeah, the premise of that was cool. I'll give you that. I kind of wish it just wasn't in black and white, too.
I was kind of okay with it being in black and white, because if that's how, their extreme view of humans, that they're dreary and boring, I think that's fair. That made sense. I was okay with that.
What was it my dad was trying to convince me that I don't like black and white movies?
Yeah, because you watched Psycho.
I watched Psycho. That's what it was. I watched Psycho 1.5 times.
You love black and white movies.
He was like, you hate black and white movies. I was like, what do you... Maybe, I don't know. Stop telling me what I like.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
And who do you think would be best at playing Ryan Gosling? Or Ryan Gosling would play in this movie? Reverse of what I said before.
No one
can play Ryan Gosling in this movie.
In any movie ever. Only Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling.
That's right.
I think Ryan Gosling would play Cal.
Okay. I put the Frog Father.
So I think we switch off on this. Adult
versus kid.
Yeah.
I think he could have played both roles, so I'll agree with you there. But I think he would have worked well for the serious hunk as the father, and then something weird happens, in a lot of his movies, I feel like.
Yeah. So current Ryan Gosling will play the father, and young Ryan Gosling will play Cal.
Yes. Oh, that'd be cool if they did it like a Boyhood situation, but they only filmed the kid scenes with the father scenes.
What?
In Boyhood, they filmed it over the course of 13 years.
Yeah.
So they do the same thing, but they film all the child scenes with Ryan Gosling as he's a kid. And then over the next 10 years or so, they wait till he's 10 years older, and then they film all the father scenes for this one movie.
And then Halloweentown 2, Kalabar's Revenge, would most certainly be up for an Oscar.
100%. Should have just done that.
Ugh, missed opportunity.
Do you want to go on hot seat first, or do you want me to go?
I'll go.
It better not be the same one I have. I think I have a pretty good one.
I have a pretty good one too.
It's probably the same one.
So, listeners, you may recall that at the beginning of the episode, we introduced our dog. So my question to Sam is, if you were to dress Murphy up in a costume, what would it be?
Reptar from Rugrats.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Okay, yeah, I'm behind that.
It's either Reptar or Chucky Finster, but I think Reptar would work better.
Oh, Murphy's definitely Reptar.
I saw a really good video, which will work for my other two dogs at home because they're both little white dogs. And it was dogs dressed up as pandas. Did you see that one?
Cute.
So it's just like walking pandas. So it's like their front feet have like little black legs, or whatever. It's very funny.
Oh, that's adorable.
What would you dress up Murphy as?
So my first thought, and this is definitely because I went to PetSmart and I saw this costume and it was just a banana. I was like, that looks so easy to put on a dog.
And then you could be My Spoon Is Too Big.
Yeah, that's my goal.
What is to be My Spoon Is Too Big, or for our dog to be a banana?
Well, for me to be My Spoon Is Too Big. That's what I was going to do to Comic-Con this year, but I didn't have time.
You didn't have time to get a big spoon.
I was going to make one out of paper mache. But next year, that's probably what I'm going to do. No one better steal my idea. I'll be very upset.
So you're sticking with banana?
Yes.
Okay, good answer.
Murphy and I will be in a couple's costume.
Nice. I'll be the cloud. I will not go further. If you had to become a Halloween costume that you've worn before for 1 year, what would it be? You become this thing in real life.
Oh, this is a tough question because I feel like I've had some pretty sweet Halloween costumes. In the recent past. Oh, okay. So follow up. If I'm become this character for a year, am I living in our world or am I living in the world that the character exists in?
In our world.
Okay. That didn't make this easier.
Sorry. I'm here to make it harder, actually.
Thank you. You know what? In that case, I would just go with a costume from my youth and be a princess.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I would be a princess. Because I was thinking recently I've been like Han Solo and Ash Ketchum, but that would be hard to adapt to our
you'd be catching
world.
Squirrels and just throwing rocks at them and stuff like that.
People would be like, hey, that's my dog.
Like, I don't care. I killed it. It fainted.
Where's Nurse Joy?
All right, good answer. I like it. We usually guess what happens in the next movie, but we went out of order because we had to do this on Halloween.
Obviously.
And so the next one's Shipwrecked. We already just guessed it. So if you want to listen to... What episode was that? Do you think we discussed Shipwrecked?
That was the last episode. So
Jenny Project.
The Jenny Project.
If you listen to our Jenny Project episode, you could scroll all the way to near the end, and we both try to guess what happens in the movie Shipwrecked. So, but that will definitely be the next movie we watch. But in the meantime...
Our next episode is going to be our top 10, third 10. And it will not include Halloweentown 2.
Right. Or Shipwrecked, which we haven't even watched yet. So you could look forward to that in about a week and a half. That one will be out.
It's going to be great.
Oh, it was great.
All 10 of them were great.
Yeah. So yeah, be that way.
Yeah.
You got anything else to say?
Well, I will share this fun fact that when I asked you for this beer and I said, grab the purple beer in the refrigerator, I thought it was a different beer, but I think I drank the beer that I thought it was.
That's
so I thought
funny.
I thought it was in store for an IPA.
I actually have a fun fact about this movie, though.
Okay.
This may not be true, so take it with a huge grain of salt. And I apologize, Kimberly J. Brown, who plays Marnie, if I'm wrong. But according to the fun facts on IMDb, Marnie and Cal were dating in real life as of July 2018.
Really?
Which is 17 years after this movie came out.
Good for them.
If it's
Good
true.
for them.
I don't know if it's true, so who cares?
That is a fun fact.
So, Marnie, if you want to clear the air if I'm wrong or if I'm right, you're always welcome. Open invitation on the podcast.
For any movie, even if you're not in it.
If you want to talk about Shipwrecked, come on the
know.
podcast. That's totally fine. You can reach us on our email at DCOnewbies@gmail.com or on our Instagram at
Disney Channel original newbies.
You could also, we do smoke signals. You could reach us at smoke signal B24. So yeah, you can reach us there as well.
Smoke signal B24.
What's wrong with B24? Should we get a new number?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
B24
Yeah, it's a pretty good number. And that's all I got. How about you?
Yeah, that's all I've got too.
All right, Murphy, you want to add anything? Oh, Murphy's asleep. He's asleep, though. All right, well, on that note.
Bye, everyone.
Adios.